Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 30th of April, 2024. Coming to this episode of the CRUSTY podcast. Oh, yes. Whacko PM, Whacko policies. The fallout from Pierre Poilievre's statements in the House of Commons. Oh, my. Listener and viewer discretion is advised because I do swear, smoke cigarettes, and make funny faces at, our leaders. Stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the CRUSTY CANUCK podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues, and life. Here's CRUSTY.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, episode 275 in this beautiful 30th of April, 2024. I'm CRUSTY CANUCK. Welcome all. Good to see you. Sorry for my absence this past Sunday. Had more chores to do. But before I carry on, this podcast is brought to you in part and supported by Veterans for Freedom Network, Veterans for Freedom Stand 2, and coming soon, pay attention to the internet for updates. Veterans for Freedom Television, that's right, Veterans for Freedom TV Stand 2. Yours truly will have a spot or probably a show on that channel, so pay attention to the details. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, CRUSTY CANUCK. Hope you've all had a decent Monday, Tuesday. And if you like and hear to see, please click like, subscribe, share this content all over your social media platforms too. And to my YouTubers out there, please double check your subscriptions just in case they're kicking you off some reason. Today, I was looking at the stats, my last episode, and I had about 102 views at 1 minute, and then it went down to 95, and then it went down to 94, and then it was up to 104, then it went down to 94 again. So, YouTube, what are you doing? Hey, what is it you're doing? So, ladies and gentlemen, please kindly check your subscriptions just in case. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment every time you see my content. Keep the algorithm going for us Canadians, especially as Canadian veterans out there, because we got a lot to say about what's going on in the world today. Anyway, I can breathe now. So like the title card said, ladies and gentlemen, Whacko PM and Whacko policies. Now, today in Parliament, member opposite, Pierre Poilievre of the King's Opposition. To my American friends out there, we still use royal terms in regards to our parliamentary procedures because it's based off the British parliamentary system. Anyway, make a long story short, Pierre Poilievre basically called the Prime Minister's policies Whacko and his policies. Hey, Prime Minister Whacko and the policies Whacko. Self-explanatory. And for the past 8 years, I'm sure a lot of you conservatives and a lot of you libertarians and classical liberals out there can agree that some of the PM's policies are just right the hell out to lunch, ladies and gentlemen. Really, honestly, like look at the debt we're in. Look at the taxes he's given us. The last budget, right? Talking about fairness, equality, and yet it's robbing the middle class blind. Okay, so I'm going to queue up a video here for you there shortly, ladies and gentlemen. And you decide. It's about 12 minutes long. It's from CTV. I'll interrupt occasionally, but ladies and gentlemen, I want you to decide and think for yourselves. Now, I can understand professionalism and being couth and being courteous in Parliament. I do remember times in Parliament where the politicians were civil to each other. But when you look at what's going on in today's world, especially here in Canada, okay, you look at the leadership that's presenting us, that's representing us too, okay, to every leader out there that said it's okay to put male tampons, fuck no, I'm starting to think odd, tampons in males' washrooms, to every individual say that we can always do more with less, and people that think the taxation is prosperity, I don't think has really read the book 1984 or Animal Farm, or really sat in a classroom and listened to how societies have drastically changed over the past 100 years. Okay. When I look at the Whacko policies of our prime minister, look at the foreign spending he is committed to. Look at the foreign investments he's put in. Look what he's doing, okay, with the economy here in Canada right now. All of a sudden, he's always talking about fairness and freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. Look what's going on at McGill University in Montreal right now. The powers that be at McGill University are asking for police assistance to get rid of these protesters. Now, like I've said before, ladies and gentlemen, numerous times in the show, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, I hear you. But now it's beginning to disrupt classes. Now it's starting to really scare a lot of students, especially Jewish students, all in the name of this wokeness, right? And it's just getting pathetic. We are seeing the double standards here today, right now, because 2 years ago, what was going on? The fallout from the convoy. And during the convoy, all these people that were for it and all the people that were against it, right? There are a lot of Canadians standing up, speaking their minds, all shapes and sizes, all colors, all creeds, all sexualities, all gender spectrums, speaking their mind in Ottawa. And look how many people raised a stink about that, right? But now we got a prime minister who's all for freedom of speech, but it wasn't 2 years ago. So I would say good on Pierre Poilievre for saying wacko prime minister and wacko policies, right? Here's a policy that's wacko. We'll give these guys a pay raise while everybody else has to pay more tax. We'll get the CRA to harass people to scrape the barrel for every nickel and dime to pay off the debt. And then we'll charge more carbon taxes, more carbon taxes, more carbon taxes in the name of greeny shimmy, when it's just really to pay off the national debt. So yeah, right on for Pierre for standing up on his scruples and saying it. If I was elected, I'd be saying it too. But then there'd probably be some fights in Parliament because I'd pick up my chair and throw at the fucking guy. In fact, some of the whack jobs that have represented the Liberal brand since 2015 are nothing but utter whack jobs, right? You have nothing but utter unqualified people who cannot do the job, okay? Krista Freeland is a business journalist and historian. What the hell is she doing managing money, okay? Yara Sachs, Miss Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, was a fucking yoga teacher, for crying out loud. Our own prime minister was a part-time, quote unquote, part-time drama teacher. He wasn't a mathematician, wasn't a scientist, wasn't a shop teacher with missing a little pinky or anything like that. He was a drama teacher. Yes, a drama teacher, living the moment, feeling it. Full of shit, full of himself. Like I said, I'll cue up the video here for you as all to follow, ladies and gentlemen. But you see where we're sitting in the spectrum here in the world, right? You see what's coming ahead. You see what's going to happen shortly. There's going to be a fight in the horizon. And I'm not just talking, people on the streets and maybe, a couple of hockey fights here and there. I think there might be a brawl in Parliament. Wouldn't that be fun to see? That'd be really fun to see. To my friends in North Perspective, I think you should capitalize on this this video and the parliamentary procedures as soon as you can, right? To my friend Radioreaction there too. Same thing, buddy. It's interesting what's going to happen too. All these people worrying about parliamentary language and using bad words. When the hell do we get so goddamn soft? That's my concern. I just, I just still shake my head and just wait. Mr. Speaker was standing up there and being very, very stern, kind of like a high school principal. We remember those days, eh? Shit.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And that's right, ladies and gentlemen, you're back to episode 275 of the Crusty Canuck podcast. And this beautiful 30th of April, 2024. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Whacko PM and whacko policies. I could ramble on about the policies, and you, my wonderful audience, you guys know too exactly what some of these policies have done for Canada. Now, I'm still seeing some people on X and Twitter speaking their mind, saying Justin's a great guy and everything's wonderful and roses and daffodils. And every time I poop, I smell rainflowers. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, okay. We've all seen that before, too. I remember when people were pro Mulroney back up until 1993, right? They love the guy. And when I think about it, it's just the endless vicious cycle. Every PM that comes in, it lasts more than 5 years, spends more money than the average PM. We go into debt. We got to find a way to tax people to pay it off, right? Or we got to cut on essential services to bring things back up again. Now, what's going to happen, let's say, if Pierre does get elected next year, or maybe sooner, who knows? They might call an election sooner. We'll have to see, right? Who knows? But needless to say, we're going to have to wait out. But people are starting to boil over. People are starting to get mad. People are starting to get pissed off. And rightfully so. Okay? With all the protests going on to support Hamas, not Palestine, they're supporting Hamas. All these virtue signalers, teetotalers, and all these rich kids who actually can afford tuition to go to school these days, or have it paid for by their mom and pop, or their mom and mom, or dad, or by you and I, the taxpayer, to sit around and scream bloody murder when they've never stepped out any kind of comfort zone themselves. But anyway, I'm dragging on here. I will cue this video up from CTV on what Pierre said in Parliament, a whole 12 minutes of it. And please, ladies and gentlemen, I don't usually put CTV videos up on here, but this time this is just too good to be true. I have to make an exception, but it just hit the tongue in cheek, and you can tell Pierre he's good to go. I may disagree with some of his policies, but he's probably one of the better shots we're going to have in the next few years. You decide, ladies and gentlemen. Right.
Decriminalization of crack, heroin, and other hard drugs in hospitals, transit buses, coffee shops, and parks where children play. There has been a record-smashing 2,500 deaths. Will the Prime Minister accept the BC NDP's demand to recriminalize those drugs?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, I just answered that question. What hasn't been answered by the Leader of the Opposition is why he chooses to continue to court extreme right nationalist groups like Diagolon. He refuses to denounce these extremists who don't believe Canadians should coexist with each other. Instead, they call for war and tell people to follow their instincts accordingly. The Leader of the Conservative Party is actively courting the support of groups with white nationalist views. It is disturbing, and he needs to stand up and apologize now.
Right now.
Okay. That's where you're wrong, Liberal Party. He was not standing up for white nationalist views. Just because he was seen with a bunch of protesters in the East Coast and he walks by a door that happens to have a little Diagolon flag on doesn't mean he's with white supremacists. Okay. Mayor Nancy out of Calgary, former Mayor Nancy out of Calgary, said the same thing about the convoy. Oh, they're just full of white supremacists, just white supremacists. Is that the logic now? Every time a white person speaks his or her mind, they're white supremacists? Come on, people. God damn.
Colleagues, so soon in question period, it is important that we try to control ourselves. I'll ask the honourable member from St. Albert, Edmonton, please, to allow members to ask the questions and members to respond.
Control yourself.
The honourable
Control
Leader
yourself.
of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I always condemn extremism and racism, including from the guy who spent the first half of his adult life as a practicing racist, dressing up in hideous racist costumes so many times.
Yeah, blackface. Blackface. We all remember the blackface.
The honourable member, Leader of the Opposition, knows that to make an accusation directly at the character of a single person is not appropriate. And I'm going to ask all members to control themselves. I'll ask the Honourable Leader of the Opposition to rephrase this question and to start for the top.
Mr. Speaker, I will also condemn the extremism of a prime minister who gives hundreds of thousands of dollars of anti-racism money to a Jew hater who has proposed shooting Jews in the head. I condemn a prime minister who allows the IRGC, which murdered 55 Canadians, to remain legal. And I condemn a prime minister who allows open use of crack, heroin, meth, and weapons in hospital rooms that threaten nurses and on school buses next to children. Will the prime minister reverse his extremist policies?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader opposite is showing us exactly what shameful, spineless leadership looks like. He shakes hands with white nationalists, members who actively court the support of those members and has been learned. Get it together,
Yeah, that's really rich, Justin. Spineless leadership. Really? Where were you during the convoy again? Hiding away? Where were you during the first Truth and Reconciliation Day? Surfing? In fact, where have you been on Remembrance Days quite a bit without toting a phony speech? We all remember what you said that veteran back in February 2018. You're asking for more than we're able to give. Yeah, things we remember. You silly little man.
Order. I'm going to ask the honourable member from Lethbridge if she has problems with the chair, that she should challenge the chair in a way. But as she knows, as the honourable member from Lethbridge knows, that by challenging the chair is against the rules of this House. I'll ask the honourable member to please to ask her to withdraw her remarks.
The chair is acting in a disgraceful manner.
I'm going to ask the. Will you?
I like how they cut out the mic all the time, just so they can't hear the bantering. Right?
Ms. Harder, I have to deem you for disregarding the authority of the chair. Pursuant to authority granted to me by Standing Order 11, I order you to withdraw from the House and from any participation by video conference for the remainder of this day's sitting.
Dumb people's kids.
Now back to the issue at hand. Mrs. Thomas, my apologies. Now back to the original point. I'm going to ask the Prime Minister to please, as I'd ask the Leader of the Opposition, you can start from again and to make sure that he does, to start his question, to reframe it in a way that does not call into the character of an individual member of Parliament. The Honourable Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the leader opposite is showing us once again what he will do to try and earn votes through personal attacks. He shakes the hands of a leader of a white nationalist group, then goes to actively court the support of the group's members and thinks he can get away with it. This is a group that advocates for violence against 2S LGBTQI plus Canadians, against Hindus and Sikhs, against Muslims and Jews. Diagolon stands against everything we stand for as Canadians, and yet he will not denounce them or what they stand for. That is shameful, Mr. Speaker.
Diagolon's a joke, you fucking moron.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, that, like everything else he says, is false. He uses fear and falsehood, and this latest distraction, because he doesn't want to face the fact that he has become so extreme and radical that even the BC NDP is distancing themselves from his decriminalization of crack, heroin, meth, and other hard drugs in hospital rooms, causing nurses to have to stop breastfeeding their babies for fear that their contaminated air might end up in the breast milk of the baby. Why won't he ban these drugs?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
We still won't condemn these groups. Any leader that needs the support of a far-right white nationalist group to fundraise and get closer to power does not deserve elected office.
Straw man.
This is a 19-year career politician who knows exactly what he's doing and thinks he can get away with it. It was a choice to pander to white nationalists, not an accident. And it is a choice to continue to not condemn them and condemn everything they stand for in his quest for votes.
Okay, you talk about 19-year career politicians, and I've spoken out against career politicians too. I believe a couple of terms maybe, and if you're good at your job, fine. If you're actually making a difference. But Justin, you've been in politics since what, 2007? Right? It's now, 2024. 17 years. So as long as Pierre's done 19 years, you done 17, that's fine. That's fine. I know Pierre Poilievre comes from a humble background compared to your background, which has been lavish and lavish and lavish based on fundraisers and how much Chinese communist ass you can kiss, right? So really, Buckeye, you've got no right to talk about it.
I'm going to ask the honourable member for the second time from St. Albert, Edmonton, to please withhold his comments until he has the floor. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it is a choice for him to implement extremist policies that have taken the lives of 2,500 British Columbians every single year. Since the NDP has asked him to reverse course on his and formerly their radical policy, 22 British Columbians have died of drug overdoses. But he continues to allow those drugs to kill the people in our hospitals and on our public transit. When will we put an end to this wacko policy by this wacko Prime Minister?
No. That is not there are a couple of things which are going on here today, which is not acceptable.
There you go. There's a name, ladies and
all
gentlemen.
members, please, to keep themselves,
wacko policies,
to
wacko Prime
control
Minister.
themselves. I'm going to ask two things. One, I'm going to ask the Honourable Leader of the Opposition to withdraw that term, which is not considered parliamentary.
Mr. Speaker, I replace wacko with extremist. He is an
The honourable member to please. I'm going to ask the Leader of the Opposition once again to just withdraw that comment, please. And I'll invite the honourable member. I'm going to ask the honourable Leader of the Opposition to please withdraw that comment and simply withdraw that comment.
I'll replace it with radical
No,
Baptist policy.
I am not asking to replace. I'm asking the honourable member to just simply withdraw.
Mr. Speaker, I replace the word wacko with extremist.
Extremist he was. Very extreme. Very lefty ideologue. And notice they cut the mic out again, right? I want people to say this, say that. Let's assess what words you're allowed to you say. Considering how much you're getting paid, you should be able to say what the hell you want. Honestly, really. See, it's sad. It's sad, There's a few seconds here, ladies and gentlemen, where they cut the mics, but
all right, let me tell you what's going on here. A very feisty, some would say disorderly, House of Commons today during question period. The Speaker has to keep stopping the proceedings. They turn off the audio, by the way, if you're wondering why there's dead air. Let's listen in again.
One last time. To please withdraw that comment and simply withdraw that comment.
I simply withdraw and replace with the aforementioned adjective.
Mr. Poilievre, I have to name you for disregarding the authority.
you stand your ground,
chair.
Pierre.
Pursuant to the authority granted to me by Standing Order 11, I order you to withdraw from the House and from any participation by video conference for the remainder of this day's sitting.
Yeah, order withdraw from Parliament, basically. use bad words. Okay, we got to kick you out of the house. We just don't want you here. And of course, liberals sitting there clapping. Oh, way to go. Yes, of course, the Mr. Speaker himself, the House Speaker, is a liberal, right? So I remember saying an episode before, if you're going to have a House Speaker, it should be either independent or somebody selected by all three parties. Okay, that's just me, though. But then, what do I know, right? The government doesn't want to listen to the people anymore because we just don't know what we're doing.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 275, the Crusty Canuck podcast, Whacko PM and Whacko policies. So you've heard the rundown, what I've said. You've heard what was said in Parliament today. You can see where we're going with this, ladies and gentlemen. You can see where our parliamentary system is going. It's going downhill. Okay. And in a good way, because I think we can weed out the actual people that want to lead compared to the people that actually just want to call names and take charge. As a trained leader, it's easy to scream and yell and bark orders. It's not as easy to follow through on those orders. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to step back and think, shit, do I have to eat humble pie this time? A lot of times you do, believe it or not. Especially in the military, you got to step back and think, okay, what am I doing here? What am I doing there? Sometimes you second guess yourself. Sometimes you do make mistakes. And if you have a good mentorship team behind you or with you, you can be corrected. What kind of mentorship have they presented to us, the viewer? What have they submitted for our approval today, ladies and gentlemen? Sweet FA. Now, I can see the conservative side of things because they're actually fighting for the common man. Now, whether you agree with it or not, they are actually taking some stands for the common people. Now, some of their actions are questionable. Okay. But every time you speak your mind in Parliament and you get Mr. Speaker standing up saying, oh, you can't say this, you can't say that, retract this, retract that, withdraw this, withdraw that. No more withdrawals. No more withdrawals. No more bullshit. Let's start speaking our minds as we should. You've heard me ramble on about the podcast about this before, ladies and gentlemen. Speak your mind. If someone gets offended, great. Nothing's going to happen. No one's going to get hurt. No one's going to die. But there's a lot of cry bullies out there, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of cry bullies. And what's scary is that some of these cry bullies are 40, 45, 50, some are 60. That's what's fucking scary. Because then it shows me that my generation is starting to lose their backbone, starting to lose their balls. Start using our backbone, start using our balls, and start calling it what it is. A lot of bullshit. Like the title crowd says, ladies and gentlemen, Whacko PM and Whacko policies. Anyhow, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 30th of April, 2024. I hope you all filed your taxes. Yeah, I sure as hell did mine. I don't know. I might file. I might not. Because, the government is asking for more than I'm able to give right now. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you on this Friday for sure. Okay. No screwing around. I'll be off work. So I'll have the weekend to get things done, get things tidy in order. And I'll have an episode on the following Sunday too. So this Friday, another episode's coming up. And this Sunday too, ladies and gentlemen, for your listening and viewing pleasure. If you're a big fan of the Crusty Canuck. One more time, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this content all over your social media platforms. Don't be shy. Send me a comment. Give me a thumbs up. The more comments, the more thumbs up, the better. Keeps the algorithm going. Helps us Canucks and help us Canadian veterans out there. Get our words out there for you. And where you can formulate your own opinions and think for yourselves, as we should. So do what you can to help you out in these trying times. Just keep your head above water. Let's keep finding a light in this manufactured darkness. And do what you can just to be civil with each other, to be kind, and I'm not saying be kind like the whole all hearts and all this bullshit. I mean, just be good to people. It's that simple. It's not that hard. Just do what you can. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you Friday. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Withdraw. 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 Oh.